the things they should get rid of, that kind of stuff. So that was kind of an added bonus to it.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Some people are not happy about that either.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you can work out as much as you can as long as if you're not eating correctly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't think about it. That's actually maybe these Zoom things are work out really a lot better for personal training.
I'm starting to think so. Yeah.
show me the plate you had for breakfast. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Show me your pantry. Get rid of it. You like make them throw the Oreos away?
Oh yeah.
You know what?
Oh,
there's an old saying: you can't outrun a bad diet.
Yeah.
That's true. And you got to be careful, because what people don't realize is when they start working out, they don't start doing the food. They actually are burning more calories, making themselves hungrier, and go and eat more of the junk that got them there in the first place. You know what I mean? So it's really important.
Yeah, because losing weight and building muscle mass and fitness, they're completely they're separate. It's just, and I've learned over the years, it is really, really hard to lose weight while you're trying to increase your muscle mass.
Yeah, you're right. You got a point there, especially if you're like a guy trying to put on like a lot of muscle, because you need those extra calories. But, it's actually you're taking in the right calories. It's getting rid of the junk. I mean, calories are not just calories. There's the big difference between good and bad calories. So I think, if you could just switch off the junk you're eating and replace the same amount of calories that you've been taking in with good stuff, that you can benefit from that.
And that good stuff probably doesn't include Manhattans and margaritas.
Unfortunately, no.
All right, so I'm going to start my little presentation. I made this last night. I'm really enjoying this this font. It might be Comic Sans. I don't know. For some reason, I like this handwriting font. But I think I was Lauren or Norma a couple of weeks ago asked, hey, we should have a presentation on how to have an assistant. And that's a good idea. And so this is the first time I've done this presentation. I kind of threw it together, all improvised. So we'll kind of see how it goes. And that's going to share my experiences from my 2007, I got my first assistant. How long ago was that? 10, seems like yesterday. So it was basically, I got my first assistant yesterday. Well, my son's 11, so it's 12 years ago. Wow, jeez. 13 years ago.
13.
Next tip, yeah. My next training should be simple math. So the number one tool, so they do all these studies, like when you're in an hour-long seminar, well, this will only be 10 minutes because that's basically all my attention span. But when you're an hour-long seminar, they say you only remember 10% of what's heard. So if you get anything out of this one training, it's that delegate. Don't be afraid to delegate. And for my personality trait, that is not a difficult thing for me to delegate. But I know for a lot of people, I know for my wife, for example, she's like, I'll just do it myself. And that kind of thinking will set you back in terms of your income producing levels if you have that type of mindset. So it's all about the mindset of delegating. How did I learn this stuff? So basically 15 years of trial and error with many, many errors with many, many, many different types of assistants. So I'll get into more detail, but I started off with, obviously in-person assistants, and then last year or so, I've moved to VA, virtual assistants. And then the most important thing for me too was books. These are the two most highly recommended books that I've read on delegating and creating systems. So the first one is Michael Gerber, the E-Myth Revisited. He also wrote a E-Myth Revisited specifically just for real estate agents. So highly recommend checking out this book. He talks about a cupcake or a bakery, but you can assume that's also meant for, you can use the same principles for a realtor. It's all about creating the systems. And with those systems in place, you have a business, and then you can input new people into it without too much of a headache or an error. And my second book that I recommend is probably the favorite book I've ever read in my life, which I've read, 7 or 8 times. It's The 4-Hour Work Week. He also wrote The 4-Hour Body. I know Mike Might have probably read that one. But Tim Ferriss, the title is misleading if you aren't familiar with this book or you haven't read it. It's not really about working 4 hours. It's about creating systems and delegating. And there's fantastic chapters in this book all about, creating the mindset of delegating and the time cost perspective. So after this call, I highly recommend you all check out the E-Myth and the 4-Hour Workweek. You can get them on audible.com. And if you don't want to read books, and just walk around this nice weather we're having and listen to it. Great stuff. Okay. All right. Very repetitive. Repetition is the mother of learning, as Zig Ziglar said. Rule number 1, delegate everything. So in order to do this, find out what your strengths are. For example, if you're selling real estate, your strengths should be prospecting. Your strengths should be meeting new people. Your strengths should be learning the market. Everything else that you don't enjoy doing or that doesn't produce you income, like sending out mailers, for example, delegate. The best example of this would be cleaning your house. So I found this nice image of the Jetsons. Number one. Yeah, I know Brian Buffini talks about this a lot, right? So the first step is, you shouldn't be spending 3 hours a week or what now if you are cleaning your house. Rather, you should be spending that time on money generating activities. A maid is worth $50. Well, maybe you spend that hour and you could be making $1,000. So, always think about what your time is worth. And for smaller tasks that don't lead to income or don't lead to better things for you, delegate. Start small. Now, here's kind of the rules for delegating is systems. So it's all about communication. So another great thing about those 2 books is Tim Ferriss mentions he hires all these VAs from India, and you can't just tell them what to do. You have to be, because they're not gonna know, right? And so you have to, one, realize that whoever you're gonna hire is gonna do about 80% or less of what you can do. And you need to accept that fact. They're not going to be you, and they're not going to do 100% of what you're going to do, and they can't read your mind. And you need to know that. And you need to be super clear with your instructions on what you expect from them and super clear on your deadlines. So if you say, hey, make the CMA for me and leave it like that, they're going to come back maybe 4 days later with something you never thought of. And it's going to be totally wrong. But if you give them a line item by line item, tedious description of how you do it, then they'll know how to do it. A great example from the E-Myth is Ray Kroc from McDonald's. The reason why French fries taste the same in California as the French fries taste the same as in Florida is because every McDonald's owner goes to Hamburger University, and there's a 14-page manual on how to make French fries the McDonald's way. 14 pages on how to make French fries. I mean, it's that detailed on what you want, and that's really where you'll see success. So I'm going to show you the systems I use at the company. I use a program called Monday.com. And this is, different CRMs, different software, just a tool I use. I really like this program. If you talk to anyone in the company, I use it every day. I'm a little obsessed with it. But this is kind of what it looks like. And I guess it's a more detailed Excel spreadsheet that you can customize and make it easier. And so the picture here assigned to is that's JR. He's in the Philippines, Manila. And this is just one example of a spreadsheet that I made for his daily tasks. So each of these daily tasks, I had to teach him how to do it, or, Tim in the office or Rob in the office made a YouTube video with extreme detail on how to do every one of these tasks. And then every day he knows he can go in and he knows what to do. So one of the first things I did once I hired an assistant was, paying them $10 an hour. And, that sure makes you nervous. And I didn't know what they were doing all day. So with this program, I'm giving them what to do. They know what they need to do. And here I can track it. Hi, Natalie. So here's almost on task. Oh, I kind of talked about this. Again, super time intensive, but we were crystal clear on what we looked accomplished. So the systems are all there. So let's say JR leaves, we can go back to the new person and say, hey, new person, Billy, here's everything JR did. Here's all the YouTube videos. This is what you have to do. So set it up once, and now it's kind of on autopilot. Now here's something you need to think about too. What type of assistant do you need? A good first start is to jump into the pool with clothes on and head first. I like this saying that, nothing makes you more motivated in your own business than hiring your first assistant. So you're paying them by the hour. So, you better spend that time wisely. I like, when I hired my first assistant, some days if I wanted to go play golf or just, ride my bike, but then I had my assistant working, I was like, I better start working too. I better start doing some stuff to make this a good investment. So kind of like a personal trainer, right? They keep you accountable. If you're spending your money, the accountability factor, maybe if nothing else works, the accountability factor is fantastic for an assistant. So here's a couple options that I've used in the past for an assistant. If you're not ready to get a full-time assistant, there's other options, right? So if you just want an assistant for your social media, for example, just to do social media posting, that could be an assistant. It's all pay per as you go. There's a great company that Lyle uses, outboundengine.com, and they have different pricing plans. If you tell them you're with Kale Realty, they'll give you different deals.
Good to know.
So they'll post like 2 to 4 social media posts on your behalf every single day. There's only a certain amount of hours in the day that you can do. And these are things that you can hire other companies to do. Email marketing campaigns. So with your Kale subscription, you have access to Property Base or Boston Logic. And we've done a couple trainings on this. When you have clients, you set them up on email drip campaigns. There's another company called happygrasshopper.com. It's like a monthly fee of $9 to $15. And every 3 weeks, someone in your database will get an email. And you can have someone from Fiverr or Upwork, and you can hire people like this to maintain your database. So Fiverr and Upwork, if you're not familiar, those are websites where you can go and say, here's a job I would like accomplished, and you'll get probably 60 different people writing back and say, I can do that job for you for $5, or I can do that job for you for $3 an hour. So I've used tons of different people from all over the world on these websites. Fiverr, for example, we just did a redesign of our logo. And so I found a couple guys out, I think they were in Singapore to do the logo. Upwork, I recently hired an accountant just to kind of review my books. So these are great sites for finding people and really interviewing tons of people. But again, when you have a job and you want to tell them what to do, clarity is everything.
Nick, little trick on Fiverr.
Yeah.
When a lot of times when you put it out there for a bid, they'll come back and give you bids and they'll be higher than the $5. Well, what I'll do is I'll just pick 1 or 2 guys. I'll pay the $5 first because they give you that option, and then give them the job. So many times they'll just do it for that $5. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, that works out.
And what I started doing too is like I stopped actually posting jobs because you get so many responses.
Yeah.
I would just go through and see who has the most reviews for what I'm looking to do. And then I reach out to the person. Hey, you have 45,000 5-star reviews. Here's what I want to do. Yeah. There's definitely no lack of supply for people to help you.
That's for sure.
So here's what I use. Like I said, again, I use a virtual assistant. There's 2 companies that I use that I really like. There's one called Virtuance. They're out in Seattle, and there's My Outdesk, and they are in, I think, San Francisco. And what they do are they just have 1 or 2 employees in the States, and all their other teams are in the Philippines. And the employees they get in the Philippines are fully vetted, background checks, and fully trained. So if you went on Upwork, you could probably find someone in the Philippines probably for $4-5 an hour. But then you'll have to train them and teach them everything and kind of trust that you have a good vetting process. Whereas these companies, it's $9 to $10 an hour, but they give you great people to work with. They're basically 80% trained when they come to you, and you just need to show them your systems. You can get them full-time or part-time, and it's great. And then with Zoom, we do everything through Google Hangouts. So, if you have the person hired for you between 9 and 11 a.m., let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're on Google Hangouts with them, and they log in, and then you have your chat with, here's the 5 things I need you to do today. Everything's in the Monday board, and they complete it that way. So that's it. That's all I got. So basically, it's just a trial and error process, right? If you think you're ready for it, just do it. So I'm going to leave that. Anyone has any questions, comments?
Nick, question.
Yeah.
My husband, hope he had a nice holiday anyway. My
Thanks,
husband.
Merry Christmas. I like your wreath.
No, that's a spring wreath. It's going to be changed out to a summer wreath. My husband's company uses one of those. It's and it's based in the Philippines too. It's called something 123. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Well, there's a bunch. There's one called
Employee
US Employee, and there's one called You Assist Me, and
Okay.
they are in they're in Central America.
Because I
And,
was
yeah.
wondering if you knew if you had worked with those before.
No, just the Virtuance and My Outdesk are real estate
Uh-huh.
specific. So they only
I
do
see.
they only do real estate. So that's why they're employees. They come fully trained, and a lot of them will have like MLS access or experience
Oh,
with
okay.
working for other firms. So
Okay,
the-
so that's, yeah, gotcha. Because I was, because I remember we had talked about this before, and it's like, I'm like, yeah, but those employee 123 guys, I didn't like them because I used to work at my husband's company too, and I remember that they were a pain in the butt. But you're saying that these guys are actually real estate specific, so that's a big difference. Oh, where'd your volume go? I can't hear you.
I don't hear him either.
There you are. Oh, no. Must be me. Sorry.
Oh,
Oh, I
we
heard somebody.
lost them. That's me.
Oh, there you are.
Nick,
me.
we can't hear you, buddy.
Yeah, Nick, we can't hear you.
Oh,
Hello?
I'm back. I'm back.
Ah,
Yes, you are.
Hi.
we lost you.
I sat on the mute button.
I do that all the time.
I thought it was on my end because I'm outside.
Oh, and I said the most prolific thing ever I've ever said in my whole life, and you guys didn't hear it. It's like that scene in
Oh.
Forrest Gump where he's at the
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he's on the mall.
yeah. That's what I think about the war. So they have a coach, so like Virtuance, for example. I work with Cheryl. I say, Cheryl, this is what we're looking for in a VA, a virtual assistant, and then she'll send me 8 or 9 resumes, and I can go through all the resumes and say, okay, you know what, I want to talk to Bill here. He worked with a Century 21 agent in Florida, and I want to talk to Molly. I don't know why I'm coming up with these names, but she worked for a team, making phone calls for a Canadian agent, right? So they all come to me with experience, which I really enjoy. And then it took me about a year or so, right, before I was hiring full-time, assistants in an office setting, face to face, before I made the jump to go to a virtual assistant. And I can't believe it took me so long to do it. I had a lot, it's all about changing the mindset, but it's amazingly simple. And as long as, again, you have those systems in place and you have your expectations, it works out very well. We live in a virtual world.
One other question too is, what about the time zone difference? Do you ever get a problem with them as that it's 3 o'clock in the morning for them? And
Yeah, that is something that's wacky. Yes, it is. It is currently, let's see, it's currently 2 a.m. right now, and they're working. Yeah, so yeah, Glenn's nodding. Yeah, they know it. Yeah.
Hey, Nick, quick question. Well, first of all, we did hire a couple of people, and we just recently got a guy to handle all the social media and also to do the SEO on the website. And actually, we got him through Indeed, and we're just paying him commission. And because he's not getting a base salary, we just offer him a higher commission. We literally got 200 applicants, really good people. And we finally we narrowed it down to a guy and got him. But what I'm having problems with is finding a good cold caller. We tried a couple of them, and like you said, you have to explain in detail. We actually trained them, and they still you know, I know it's dependent on how much you want to pay per hour. Obviously, the more you pay, but you know, our budget's probably around $5 to probably $8 is probably the max is where we really want to be. But we haven't been able to get one to, you know, that's getting any decent leads. And I don't know if it's because they can't carry on the conversation or, you know, the English accent barrier or what, you know, but would you have any recommendations on that?
Yeah, my first recommendation is I always like to hire through a company or a service. And the reason is I give the service my systems. And so then the coach, for like I was saying, Cheryl, she knows the systems. And then if Cheryl leaves, then it's all in the programming. And so this way, if someone leaves, I don't have to retrain them hours and hours on end, right? And then also with the service, if I'm not liking the person, I can always get someone new. It costs more, right? Like I said, it's like $5
Yeah.
if I wanted to get someone individually, but it actually costs 50% more to go with the service, but it's worth it.
Okay.
It's worth it because I don't have to go through every time I need to hire someone. I don't need to go through 500 resumes on Indeed or
Yeah.
Upwork. I just say, hey, Cheryl, give me your 2 best. And
Huh.
and then Cheryl will train them. And so it saves a lot of time. For your second question, yeah, we actually use Virtuance for our cold callers.
Oh,
And
okay.
and they're in the they're like I said in the Philippines. They're fantastic. But I think everything comes along to number of calls they can make, the systems you have, and the script, right? I think the
Yeah.
script has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I think we got a pretty decent script. Just kind of challenging finding somebody who is able to engage sellers.
That's
in
you
it.
gotta go to the company, right? And then hire
Yeah.
someone through the company, and then give them a week or two, see if they work out. If they don't, get someone new, and then just an easy transition.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give them a shot for sure. That's good info. Thanks.
It's
Thanks.
a tough gig, right? Just sitting in
Yeah.
front of your computer making 100 calls a day is not.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. We try to keep it to a minimum of 3 hours per day because I read a few things that say that they just start to fade. Anybody that's just human, you start to fade after 3 hours, and it's just not as quality after that. So
Yeah, check. I like Virtuance more than my Outdesk because Virtuance has a 30-day minimum, whereas my Outdesk wants a 3-month commitment.
oh, okay. That's definitely good info. Yeah. Cool.
So check them out.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's funny. I've done telemarketers and callers from the States, but it's amazing. Yeah, when you get outside of the States, the work ethic
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
loyalty for the Filipinos and the Indian companies I've worked with. It's so much better
Yeah.
than us lazy Americans. That's another story. We're so entitled.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but yeah.
I have a question on the liability factor from, because you're using a service. So, I mean, so they're responsible like for like any kind of payroll or anything like that. That has nothing on you, right?
That's the best part. They charge my
That's-
credit card.
Right. But you don't have to because that's the one thing that, it's like I got friends that keep asking me, oh, Lori, I know you need help and this and that. And I'm like, oh, I got it for now. But it's like and it's not even that I don't want to hire my friends. It's my concern is hiring someone. And then it's like, if I put them as a 1099er, what happens like with the COVID. And then it's like, then they, it comes back on me because it's like I should have been doing W-2 and now I'm in trouble.
That's why
You
it's the
see what I'm
best.
saying?
That's why this is the best.
Yeah.
You hire the service. Yeah.
Because they're not 1099, they're not W-2, they're not nothing. It's just you are just hiring a service just like a cell phone or something like that. That's
and if you
how
don't
this
like
works,
them,
right?
and if you don't like them, say 5:00 is we're going to be calling it quits at 5:00 today.
Yeah. Because
And
I
then-
mean,
and
it's
then,
like
yeah.
I do want to help people, but I'm concerned of my own liability, and it's like I can only stretch myself so far.
Right,
you
and
know?
then they'd file unemployment, and then now you got to start dealing with unemployment insurance, and that's the
Yeah.
worst. and then workman's comp, and
Yeah. I mean, not that I'm trying to, be, cheap or a bad person or anything. It's
No,
just
those are
I
all.
can't afford
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here you know exactly what you're paying, right? You're paying eight,
Yeah.
$9 an hour. Yeah.
Thank you.
So much easier.
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
Nick, this is a great subject. So I want to benefit from your years of experience. You got a haircut. That's good.
My wife cut my hair
She did a nice job.
with
Yeah, yeah.
preschool scissors.
There you go. Whatever works. You got to make it work. So what would you say initially if someone's kind of just going to dip their toe in the pool is a good strategy? What's the best bang for your buck, I guess, is what I'm taking into account COVID, taking into account limited showings and so forth. I mean, obviously generating listings is key. I think that's a quick route to a paycheck. And so the whole idea of having somebody else do my cold calling is interesting. So I appreciated that. But what would you say somebody just kind of dipping their toe in?
So figure out first what you need help with. So what do you need help with? Or what would you like to accomplish? Oops,
I think, okay. Yeah. So as I alluded to before, because I was with the North Shore for 20 some odd years, transitioning all my clients over and
so you need,
sending
like, some
out an
paperwork help?
announcement. Well, I want to send an announcement and get them on a drip campaign. And, I was with Century 21 for so many years, and that's how they know me. And not only that, I moved from the suburbs to the city. So I want them to see me as an expanded agent who's capable of doing rentals if their kids are going to college at DePaul, or, if they want to maybe take a look at a turnkey business. We're going to see a lot of those on the market.
So is this like a one-off project, basically like data inputting? Or would
I
it
mean,
be ongoing?
initially I want to set up the database. I just clearly am not going to get it done. I'm in school. I have a day gig. And so, I have to just delegate big time.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would probably go on Upwork, and I would search to see, you can actually search like I would search data inputting.
Okay.
Right. And I'd find the companies that have the best and highest reviews for data inputting. And then, I'd hire one of them, and it might be like $4 an hour, let's say. Right. And they say, okay, you're hired. And then you pay them through the service, and it's it's held in escrow. So you don't release the funds until they're done. And then what you do is as soon as you hire someone, have a Zoom call with them and share your screen and say, this is exactly what I'm looking to do. First write out a manual, right? Say step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So they have the manual, and then you have the Zoom call with a shared screen, and you walk them through each step. And then that's how you get to all the people transfer from one database to the other database.
Do you ever worry about your data privacy or them capturing? I mean, do you feel like the rules and regulations and things protect you when you're sharing such private information? I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't read the fine point on any of these contracts about our data that we're sharing.
Oh, not really. That's why, again, when you go on Upwork, you'll see who the highest reviewed companies are. And for the most part, Upwork does have so I kind of trust the companies that I'm hiring to do the vetting for me. And for the most part, I've never had any issues with, data and things like that. It's
No,
not like
your
you're
clients
sharing.
would tell you, like, hey, I'm getting bombarded. What's the deal? Did you sell my information?
No, and exactly. Yeah, that happens to you, right? You got a company.
I just never want my clients to get any kind of odd.
And these companies make their money on Upwork, right? And they get a 1-star review that says, hey, they stole my client's information, right? And they have 30,000 reviews. They're not gonna be doing that. They got a
there's that
reputation.
measure of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get used to, like you said, letting go of the reins. Just
Letting go.
of
Yeah,
control.
yeah. That's all about.
I did read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent cover to cover. It was a good book, but I was overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try the 4-hour work week.
Yeah, there's actually another one called the 40-hour work year.
Oh, no kidding.
But the best takeaway that I've ever gotten from an assistant is, right, it's the 80-20 principle. You just have to accept that they're not going to do as great a job as you are. And you have to have that acceptance. The expectations have to be a lot lower.
Yeah, perfection isn't. I'm not perfectionistic when it comes to delegating to other people. I'm just grateful to not have to not have to do it all
Yeah,
myself.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, something's better than nothing.
Yeah, nice.
All right.
Yeah, like yours. Yeah, with that data inputting, that just seems like a one-off project, so that can be pretty easily done
Mhm.
for just
Thank
one
you.
flat rate. Yeah, it's a good first step. That was a great question. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed our little session here.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Appreciate the
One thing I
info.
want to tell you, Nick, this is the screen. It obviously it's working.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Lori's outside, and so I got her a what's it called, like a screen visor, so she can be outside without the glares, so she can enjoy the nice
Ooh.
Chicago weather.
Good. That's
Nice.
healthy.
All right, so I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any feedback, if I wasn't rambling too much, if I was coherent and clear.
Nope.
That's all I-
Oh, good. You're good.
Okay, wonderful. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank
All
you.
right, everyone stay
Take care.
safe. We got
You
5
too.
more
Thank you.
days. 5 more days.
All right.
Take it easy.
Take care.